Jay's never stolen a car, have you, Jay? Wow. Jay did offer to buy my Pride and Joy Rover Coupe from me once. We agreed a price, 6,000 I think it was, and then at the last minute Jamie tells me, it's got no service history. Offered me 4,600. I was a bit desperate at the time, so reluctantly handed over the keys. Guess what Jay did? Drove down to Brighton at the weekend to the dealership, got the whole service history back. Never did get anything back for that, did I? Anyway, this was never intended to be a character assassination or in any way negative, just full of silly stories about Jay. After all, I love him like a brother. Unfortunately, as the oldest of 3 brothers, I've ripped my 2 mercilessly for years. So we'll just have to call this brotherly love, Jay. Besides, Jay really loves to dish it out. Everyone knows that. In fact, in that room back there in Burford, I imagine there's virtually every man in there Jay has a nickname for. Probably quite a few of the women. In my years at school, college, work, fire service, football, none of my 5 nicknames was good enough for Jay. So I'm Harold. Even Bez and the boys call it me. Thanks, Jay. James Woodburn Hickman, and yes, that is what it says on the passport, Greg, was born the 2nd child to Keith and Hilary nearly 40 years ago. Unfortunately, baby James was not the cutest of babies. In fact, you may have heard the saying, a face only your mother could love. Now, I saw Hilary going through those photo albums and can really put pay to that saying. We couldn't find any christening photos. A rumour has it that Keith and Hilary actually borrowed a baby for that occasion and had to get rid of the photos to destroy the evidence. Anyway, we did find a few photos of Jay. There was this one. No, sorry, this one. And these. Thankfully, Jay's body eventually caught up with his head and he ended up looking a normal little boy. I didn't know Jay in his early teens, but here are a few photos we found. Nice hair, Jay, and here comes a beauty. How did I meet Jay? 23 years ago. It was here at Oxford College, Oxpence. Firstly, up on the bus together from Whitney, and then eventually cadging a lift with each other in our cars, which for Jamie first was a red MG Metro with a sound system bigger than the engine. The soundtrack of Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson, then on to Westlife, another tripe. Occasionally Jay would get to borrow his dad's Citroen Xantia with his tweed interior and hydraulic suspension, which Jay loved to demonstrate, particularly as we pulled up outside the Fleece. Yes, boy! Anyway, certainly seems to have changed a bit up here. Let's have a little look. Jay was mostly rocking the double denim look around these times, as shown here when he met Janet Jackson. His conquest with the ladies was certainly kept under the radar. This is where it all happened, G Block, and there were so many stories of our time here, but but most of them have to be kept quiet with injuries to lecturers, persons, property. Jay was normally in or around the action, but never totally to blame.
Well, congratulations to Mr. Hickman on his wedding. Wish him all good luck and every good wish. Daniel always was an excellent student, and I remember him with pleasure.
It's Jamie.
Jamie? Oh, yes. Yes, I remember Jamie. Yes, he was in the first diploma, wasn't he? Yes, I do. And you say he's done very well in all the years since he left us? Well, I'm very glad to hear it, but very glad indeed. It must have been due to the teaching, I think.
Now, Jay was an usher at my wedding, along with my brother, and one of his jobs was making sure people were in the right place, looking in the right direction for photos, etc. Jay moved into a shared house in Penn's Close with Neil Peaty, and you'll know if you're on his table, Paul Hoddy and a number of others. Jamie treated himself to a Lotus Elise sports car and was to be seen driving around town with the roof down, loving life. Thankfully, the roar of the engine drowning out most of his shit music. Although he did dish out a few, Jay became the butt of many a practical joke. The boys one night changing the alarms forward and every clock in the house 2 hours, and Jay went off to bed at 8 o'clock on a Sunday night, getting up for work the next morning at 4 a.m. On another occasion, they slid the Lotus back from the garage and changed the number plate, and Jamie drove totally unawares to Abingdon one morning and all the way back from work without realising. So it was here at Leadbitter's head office some 15 years ago that the lovebirds first locked eyes on each other. They arranged to go on a date and the relationship blossomed. Unfortunately, in the early days, their relationship had to be conducted under a veil of secrecy. Was one of them already married? No. In a relationship? No. Was it down to religion? No. You see, in the mind of what remained under that fringe, having a relationship with someone at work was inappropriate. So they kept things quiet, only communicated with little pass notes under the desk, the odd phone call, and of course email. And even when Katie eventually moved in with Jamie, she'd come to work separately at a different time in a different car to keep it quiet. In the end, a solution had to be reached. Katie had to get another job. When we got our first house, Jay took a week off work to help us painting. I helped Jamie when they got their first house. We've been on many holidays together. We've helped each other through some tougher times. And now it really is great to see what a great dad he's become to those three boys. And now, finally, a husband to Katie. I'm sure I speak for many people when I say we love you both dearly and those three beautiful boys. Tonight's going to be a hell of a party. Can't wait to see some wacko moves on the dance floor. Anyway, I'm nearly back now, so ladies and gentlemen, please charge your glasses